It's been said a million times how out of touch Nintendo is with the world around them, and it should be said a million more times because it is laughable how archaic and primitive and disconnected from reality Nintendo is. If Nintendo was an army, they would still be fighting using muskets. Nintendo is like inhabited by nothing but Neanderthals afraid of fire. If you walked into the Nintendo office and said the word technology or internet, they'd all collectively hide under their desks out of fear. It is pathetic how behind the times Nintendo is. Why am I talking about Nintendo? It's because they've just done two incredibly fucking dumb things in the last 12 hours, back to back. A double whammy, double fisting the entire online community. The first thing they did is start striking Twitch streamers for playing their Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity game on stream a little early. And the reason they're playing the game early is because it came out in their area. Nintendo doesn't understand that time zones exist. They think everything is Nintendo time, baby. So the game is legally out in Australia and other parts of the world, so they just started streaming the game, but Nintendo doesn't fucking know that, so they think they've pirated the game, so they struck their channel down as a result. If you told Nintendo that other places have different time than what they see on the clock in their office, they'd call you a liar, heretic, flat earth, conspiracy theorist, all kinds of crazy shit, because it looks like they don't understand how fucking time zones work. That's how delusional Nintendo is. Nintendo is to gaming what the workers at Disney World are to the magic of imagination, locked in a fantasy world. They can't process reality or what the fuck is even going on in the world, it feels like. You need to look no further than the Nintendo Online service, the worst online functionality that you have to fucking pay a fee for. Whereas most things, like on PC and shit, you don't have to pay to play online. For Nintendo, you do, and you get the worst service. It's like a service you would find out of a dumpster 20 years ago. Like, it's terrible. It's fucking terrible. It makes me wonder how they even develop games in the first place with this archaic understanding of technology and the internet. Keep in mind, this is the company that used to strike YouTube videos and entire channels if you even played Mario Kart or had Mario soundtrack in your videos. That was only like 5 or 6 years ago. It wasn't even long ago. Nintendo probably still uses pigeon-carried mail as opposed to electronic mail because they're afraid of the email boogeyman. Now, aside from just this ridiculous striking crusade they went on today, they also decided to cease and desist a major Super Smash Bros. Melee tournament because they were using Slippy. I'm not going to get too deep into what Slippy is, but in a nutshell, it allows Super Smash Bros. Melee to be played online via emulator with rollback netcode, and it is the best possible online experience you can find for Melee. And since the world is still experiencing a pandemic, they can't have Melee tournaments in person, obviously, so they were using Slippy, and Nintendo put their fingers up their ass and got real stinky about it, sent out a full cease and desist to shut it all down. Just classic Nintendo shitting on everybody's fun and not understanding anything of what they're doing and how it affects people. Nintendo's whole brand image is about making content for the whole family to enjoy, but it seems like they prefer fucking families in the ass. They've always had a bad reputation when it comes to anything involving consumers and communities. They don't care about communities, they just like to slap them around and use them. And now, of course, you have the 15-year-old certified Twitter lawyers weighing in on the legality of Nintendo stepping in and shutting this down. Well, it's well within Nintendo's rights to shut this down. I mean, it is their property, and it is an emulated version of their game. I think it's totally fine they shut it down. It's Nintendo, and I think that's okay. Well, asshole, I mean, we could debate the legality of emulators all night and day, but at the end of the day, this is a 20-year-old game. I don't think they're somehow missing out on sales by having people emulate and play it online. I don't think there's anyone out there scratching at their neck right now waiting for Christmas so they can finally get a GameCube in Super Smash Bros. Melee. I highly doubt that, but what could happen is some people tune into a massive Smash Bros. Melee tournament, see how much fun the game is, and then go out of their way to become a fan of Super Smash Bros., where they likely do buy Super Smash Bros. Ultimate for the Switch, you know? There's a lot of things that could happen in regards to getting new audience, a new player base from watching an old game being played that Nintendo isn't making any money on these days. I don't think Super Smash Bros. Melee is somehow a cash cow at Nintendo HQ. They likely forgot they even made the fucking game. So yes, you and I can plop by the fireplace with an open bathrobe and debate the legality and whether or not Nintendo is well within their rights to shut it down till the cows come home. But it doesn't matter. The fact remains that it's still a douchey thing to do. It's a nearly 20-year-old property. Why are they trying to enforce that intellectual property tooth and nail and dictate how people can enjoy that game from that many decades ago? It's not worth it. Just let people have their fucking fun. It's not a hard concept. Nintendo's supposed to be all about fun, right? Like, you know, fun for the whole family, all this and that. So what is the point in being so nasty and heavy-handed on everything relating to their property? It's a worthless fight that they decide to take with the community that supports them. It's pathetic. They absolutely just slap around the people that really like their games. It's really sad shit. And Nintendo is just so out of touch with the world that it is laughable. And it's really upsetting that they continue to operate this way without any consequence. They will always seem to be supported by the general population of gamers, even though they have no respect for gamers or anything in that ballpark. They probably don't even know what a gamer is. I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo's under the assumption that they're making pharmaceutical products or something. I really don't understand how the fuck they even make games with this basic level of understanding of the internet. It blows my fucking mind. It really does. They are so incredibly out of touch. And there's a hashtag floating around for Melee right now, which is hashtag free Melee, hoping that Nintendo will see it and retract their decision to shut this big event down. Hopefully it works, but I can tell you right now, Nintendo doesn't know what Twitter is. Nintendo's Twitter account is run by one guy in their basement that they don't even pay. And he said, let's just make a Twitter account. And they said, fuck you, just do whatever, stay in that basement. They don't know what that is. They probably won't see it. Would love to be proven wrong. Hopefully Free Melee does something, but I just wanted to vent about Nintendo. That's about it. So yeah. I want to start by addressing the greasy elephant in the room. My hair is not wet from a shower. In fact, quite the opposite. Hygiene is a thing of the past in Tampa right now. This is just thick, caked-on layers of grease and filth. I look like a Madame Tussauds wax statue. But it's not by choice. I'm not choosing to revert to troglodyte instincts and just turn my room into some kind of 4chan masturbatorium cum dumpster where all of a sudden I just give up on showers or anything. It's because Tampa, in all of its baffling, stunning glory, found a way to blow up the water main yesterday or 2 days ago, however long it's been. It's been 2 days without a shower for me. Because a third party was doing work on the city and they found a way to just bust that fucking bad boy completely sky high and flood half the city. I don't know what kind of work they were doing. Knowing Tampa, they were probably trying to find rare opals by just using dynamite in the streets, hoping to get lucky or something, and they ended up just blasting the pipes. But either way, it contaminated the water supply, so we're under a boil water notice and I can't shower. Rather, I don't want to shower. The city says the city will have you believe the water is safe to bathe in, just not consume. And now I'm going full conspiracy theory fucking Redditor here, and I'm starting to question the truthfulness of that kind of statement, because if the water's safe to bathe but not consume, you know, how safe is it really? And I'm a hypochondriac already, so I just don't want to take the chance. Knowing Tampa, they're probably just dumping raw plutonium directly into the water supply. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they just said, hey, this radioactive chemical power plant needs to be drained. Might as well just do it right into the water main here and just further contaminate the water supply. No one will notice. So I'm just, you know, I'm not going down that path. I bought like a case of water bottles to try and bathe myself with after this video. So we'll see how that goes, but I just wanted to explain that right away. So it's only been a week since the last time I shit on Nintendo, and I want to again reiterate, fuck Nintendo. And within that week, they've somehow found more interesting and creative ways to just be hated. It's like they're speed running to try and become the most hated video game company in the fucking world, and they're succeeding. In the last video I made talking about their shit, I kind of chalked a lot of it up to just them being technologically incompetent and out of touch and afraid of change. But after the last week or so, I genuinely just believe this company is evil. I really think that they just hate gamers or their audience that they try and cater to, and do anything they can and go out of their way to keep dropping their fucking butthole in the mouth of the people that buy their products. So I'm not going to go over the same stuff I talked about in the last video. If you want to see other things to hate Nintendo for, you can watch the last video I made. But this one I want to talk about just what they've done recently. So let's start with the most pathetic thing they've done. There was a Splatoon tournament coming up a couple days ago where it was just a Nintendo Splatoon tournament for some teams to come in and compete for the grand prize of $25, which I think is probably the highest prize pool Nintendo's ever fucking offered because they don't show any support to competitive games. To be honest, when I heard it was a $25 grand prize, I was fucking pumping both fists in the air like, yeah, good job Splatoon, you finally got Nintendo to shell out the big bucks for you. Because when I hear Nintendo grand prize, I usually think of cents. So I was expecting 25 cents maybe at most, but man, going all the way for $25 was nuts. And keep in mind, it's not actually 25 real world dollars. They were offering $25 worth of store credit to Nintendo service, baby! That's almost like 3 months worth of their awful online service where you get to play with dial-up connection. I mean, hey, it's a fucking great deal. Nintendo's crushing it. They hate the word competitive in regards to their games. They hate it. I guess it's a company run by people who only ever got participation trophies and now hate competition. I don't know what to tell you. But they fucking hate it and they offer no support. But anyway, they have this Splatoon tournament coming around where the teams were competing for $25 and they're not really there for the money. They're there just to have some fun. And anyway, 4 of the 8 teams that were competing, I think it was 4, had Save Melee, or some way of showing support for the Melee scene. Now just to bring you up to speed on the lore, Nintendo recently shut down a massive Super Smash Bros. Melee tournament just because they didn't like it was being played on an emulator. It was really petty garbage, a bunch of bullshit, and the Splatoon community wanted to show solidarity with the Melee community, so they just made some variation of Save Melee or Free Melee as their team name, and Nintendo responded by shutting the entire fucking Splatoon tournament down. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but they revoked all live streaming rights of the tournament, basically just killing it from the get-go. And the Splatoon community then went to a different tournament with a $1,500 grand prize pool, which absolutely annihilates Nintendo's official one. So it worked out for the Splatoon community, but it just shows Nintendo's willingness to spit in the face of the people that love their games so much. Nintendo fucking hates gamers, I think it's safe to say at this point. They genuinely do everything they can to go out of their way to shit on the fun. And also, even more laughably, one of the Splatoon Opens, the grand prize of $25 wasn't even awarded to the team that won it. Here's a tweet from the team that won. They never even got their $25 gift card. Nintendo is such a piece of shit. Nintendo is so unbelievably heinous in all of their decisions, and I genuinely think they do it maliciously. I don't think it's incompetence. I really think they just have a hatred for the people that buy their products. They can't even be bothered to squeak out a $25 gift card for a team that loves their game that much and competes in tournaments. Like, that's so fucking bad. But it doesn't stop there for Nintendo. Their appetite was ravenous and they weren't satiated yet. They were thirsty, and the only thing that would quench their thirst were more Nintendo fans' tears in their glass. So the next thing Nintendo did is they set their sights and put the crosshairs on one man making custom Joy-Con controllers that were made to honor Etika. Etika was a YouTuber and a streamer and a huge fan of Nintendo IPs, and a man named Captain Alex was making Joy-Con controllers to honor him. And of course, Etika had the Joy-Con boys, so the controllers were outfitted with Joy-Con boys on the controller, and the money that was being made from those was going into charity. And of course, Nintendo, being the greedy, soulless corporation that it is, they sent a cease and desist shutting down production. Nintendo and cease and desist go together like cereal and milk, peanut butter and jelly. They just fit together so nicely. It's used so often. Nintendo and cease and desist are pretty much synonymous at this point. Like, from now on, if you get a cease and desist, you can just call it getting Nintendo'd by this point. They cease and desist anybody. They would send a cease and desist letter to a 4-year-old that did a crayon drawing of Super Mario if it didn't properly represent their IP. To be honest, I'm surprised that Nintendo hasn't tried to sue everyone that wears a green shirt because they say it's related to Link from their IP, Legend of Zelda. They are truly shameless garbage corporation. They are the anti-fun video game developer. And I bet you're thinking, Charlie, well, that's gotta be it, right? And you'd be wrong. They have gone on a complete rampage in only like 5 or 6 days. Today, they shut down the soundtrack for Super Mario, Zelda, and Mario Kart Wii. You can no longer hear the soundtrack on YouTube. They've blocked all of it, or at least most of it, and they're going to continue to do so. It is now forbidden music, because it's Nintendo's music. There's a few more things I was reading about in regards to how they would strong-arm Twitch into not allowing certain things to be broadcast, but I feel like a lot of those aren't 100% confirmed, so I'm not going to touch on it, and I don't even need to. I think it's pretty clear Nintendo doesn't care for the people that buy their games. In fact, I go a step further and say that they genuinely fucking hate them. I don't think that's a stretch to say. I really don't. They have to go out of their way to find these things that they're shutting down and cease and desisting. They have to genuinely be scouting the entire internet to look for people to shit on. It's crazy. Now, I've already started my protest of Nintendo. I didn't buy Age of Hyrule Calamity, Chlamydia Warriors, whatever the fuck it was called. I already forgot. The Age of Hyrule Warriors Calamity, whatever. Because fuck Nintendo. I've never seen a company be so open with how much they don't like the communities that play their games. It's wild. They're not just out of touch. They're downright attacking the people that play their shit. If they're not playing it in the Nintendo-sanctioned way, then Nintendo's gonna try and have your ass thrown in jail. It's a terrible company. It's horrible shit. Horrible, horrible shit, really. Fuck Nintendo. That's about it. See ya. 3 days ago, I made a video talking about Nintendo being an evil, soulless corporation, as well as out-of-touch, archaic, and just downright goofy for the way that they treat online content creators like criminals. Most recently, they issued 2 strikes to a YouTuber named Penguinz0 because he made videos on Breath of the Wild that featured modded content. And in the eyes of Nintendo, that is a sin more unforgivable than murder. So they threw the book at him. They were coming with the meat. They tried to give him the business. They issued 2 strikes, and it wasn't just modded content they targeted, by the way. They also just targeted other videos as well on other games. A lot of it did feature mods, but some of them were just vanilla gameplay videos that they absolutely had a conniption over. Nintendo for a long time has historically shown that they hate their fans and absolutely despise when people play their games or enjoy their games in ways that they didn't plan for or in ways that they don't approve of. So for Penguinz0 showing mods and having fun making content around mods, they, started screaming bah humbug and shaking their fist at the clouds and then hired their legal team of assassins to do as much damage to him as possible. And if it was up to Nintendo, they probably would have publicly hung Penguinz0 to make an example out of him for daring to play their games in a way they didn't intend for people to play them. Would have had him face the fucking firing squad. The reason I'm even mentioning all of this before talking about today's story is because it's only been 3 days and Nintendo has already upped the ante on how evil they can be and how unbelievably cruel they are. Like they made, I made a claim in that video that they don't listen to the community, they don't care about, negative reputation that they have or community backlash. They don't listen to it, they just kind of brush it off like it's just, little squeaking dog toys that they can just ignore. They don't care what the people are saying, they're not listening. But now, I'm almost convinced they must have heard what the community was saying about how evil they were and said, oh, you think that's bad? Well, watch this. And then they went even harder into degeneracy. So, what they've done, or what was revealed to the public today, is that they have completely ruined a man's life. And I'm not exaggerating. They are putting a man in debt to them for the rest of his life. There's a guy named Gary Bowser, and I'm not making this up. This isn't an alias. His name is fucking Gary Bowser. This sounds like fanfic. This sounds like the plot to the new Mario Bros. Movie. Like, it actually sounds made up, but it's real. Gary Bowser was working with a company called Team Executor. They were a hacking group that would hack consoles for profit, and one of their biggest products was for Switch. They would basically jailbreak the Switch and they'd sell it and make money off it, and Gary Bowser was one of the prominent members of this team, allegedly. And a couple of years ago, he got caught, and he served 40 months in jail. His time in jail is coming to a conclusion now, and he's about to be released, but he's not off the hook yet. In fact, he's on to an even deeper hook. One that is going to be a life of servitude to Nintendo, because they are coming after him for an additional $10 million+ that he will have to pay back over the course of the rest of his life. He is going to have to forfeit 25 to 30% of his income every single month to Nintendo until he can pay off his $10 million+ debt to them, because he was part of that hacking group. That is a legitimate, life-ruining obligation that he will have to fulfill. Now, I want to make it clear, Gary Bowser is not a hero. He is not a saint. He was part of a group that was knowingly breaking the law for profit. He wasn't doing anything, you know, just. He wasn't some, like, holy figure, you know, breaking the rules for the benefit of everyone. They were very much in it just to make money off of all of this. He knew it was wrong, and what he's done is illegal. But I would argue spending 40 months in jail is punishment that fits the crime. I don't think they needed to add on an additional fucking generational debt that he and his grandkids wouldn't even be able to pay. Now, of course, his family's not going to be obligated to pick up the tab on the $10 million plus that he owes when he dies, but you get the point. The amount of money that Nintendo is forcing him to pay back over the course of his lifetime is one that could never be fulfilled by him and his kids working and his grandkids working and maybe even his great-grandkids working. It is an absurd punishment. Once again, I understand what he did was wrong and he's not a good guy, but this is just beyond excessive. Nintendo is a multi-billion-dollar corporation that's now face-fucking one random average guy in particular, forcing him to pay back a debt that he will never be able to repay. That $10 or $14 million means absolutely nothing to Nintendo. They wipe their ass with that amount of cash. Meanwhile, that means that Gary Bowser will never be able to live a normal life. He's going to be constantly paying this back forever. He's going to die with negative $10 million to his name. Like, he won't even be able to afford a coffin to be buried in. Like, it's just so far into the realm of lunacy here. And I actually imagine Nintendo celebrating this victory with handshakes all around and then laughing at the misery of Gary Bowser, who now has to send 25 to 30% of his income to this company every single month, where once again, I imagine once they receive those checks, they throw it right in the trash can and forget about it, because that amount of money is completely meaningless to them. Anyway, the situation is wild, but this is kind of the story, like the general overview of it. I went over it more on stream, so I'll just play some clips of that. You honestly couldn't have scripted a better story, but it's real. And he had been sentenced to jail. Nintendo actually pursued action against him. He had made, I think, like $300K from all of his, like, hacking. And he spent 40 months in jail and he just got released. And now he's going to have to pay 25 to 30% of his income every single month to Nintendo for the rest of his life. And he will still not be able to ever pay that off. So long, Gary Bowser. Pretty sure chat made that joke when we talked about him 2 years ago too. Which is still a fire joke, by the way. So he's paid $175 of his 10 million plus debt. So he's chipping away at it. He's making progress, ever so slightly. They wanted to send a message to other Switch hackers. It was a very significant moment for us. It's the purchase of video games that sustain Nintendo and the Nintendo ecosystem, and it is the games that make the people smile. It's for that reason that we do all we can to prevent games on Nintendo systems from being stolen. Heroes. You guys are such fucking noble saints. Thank you, Nintendo. Ensure that this man will never live his life without the fear of Nintendo down his neck. And then also, while you're at it, why not strike a few more YouTubers who make videos on your games? You guys love to make people smile. The company just got a fine. They didn't, like, lock up and throw in the slammer every single person there. Meanwhile, Gary Bowser, he got the book thrown at him. He got the wood. It must have been something personal because his last name is literally Bowser. I have no doubt Gary Bowser got into hacking the Switch specifically because his last name's Bowser, so he's like, fuck it, I'll do it. Might as well. I'll fulfill my namesake. 100%. Successfully argued that Bowser and Team Executor had caused Nintendo to suffer $65 million in losses due to console hacking software and devices used to play pirated Nintendo Switch games. I don't recall that. 65 million from the console hacking software? I gotta be honest with you, Chief, that seems like a bunch of baloney. I don't know why the number 300K keeps popping into my head. Maybe that's what Gary Bowser personally stood to gain, or personally gained from all of this. Or maybe I'm just way off the mark, but I really thought, or I vividly remember, like a report saying he had made like 300K from it all. But who knows? That could be wrong. So, okay, so that is what he made for himself. He himself made 300K. I saw someone on Twitter say that they would honestly fake their own death in this case. Dude needs a new dust filter for his Hoover Max Extract Pressure Pro Model 60. Fucking true. He's gonna need a Hoover Max ASAP. Does he even have a job? Well, he's just now getting out of prison after spending 40 months there. And he had a job in prison where he paid off $75 of his debt. So I would wager a guess he doesn't currently have a job. He's probably still hunting for one. I'm just gonna get this out of the way right now. My voice sounds like a chain smoker who swallowed a bag of rocks, and there's not much I can do about it. But there's something I really want to talk about today. Nobody hates Nintendo fans more than Nintendo themselves. Every year, sometimes multiple times a year, Nintendo will lash out and just attack YouTubers who make videos about their games, like the biggest fans. And if they're not attacking YouTubers, they're attacking grassroots tournaments. It's foul. Nintendo has some kind of grudge against people that like their products. They view them as enemies, like terrorists. How dare you enjoy our products this much that you're willing to make content or have tournaments around them? We're putting the kibosh on it. And that's exactly what they've done again to a massive YouTuber named Penguinz0. Oh my god. What the fuck? Nintendo even sent an assassin after me with Io here with that jump scare. Jesus. That was terrifying. It's good to see you though, Io. You heard me talking about Nintendo and just wanted to come in and chime in on how shitty they are? I respect it. Yesterday, Penguinz0 posted this video where he talked about how Nintendo is not only taking down a ton of his content, mainly Breath of the Wild, but also striking his channel for it. For those that don't know, there's a couple different levels of severity here, a couple different DEFCONs you can go through on YouTube, where one of them is a video gets claimed by someone, which means they then take all of the AdSense. Another level is they block it and take it down, but you don't get a strike, you just no longer have the video up. And then the third most extreme level, this is when the air raid sirens are sounding, going nuclear, striking a channel, which takes down the video and issues a strike to the channel, which is debilitating. And if you get 3 strikes, you lose your whole channel, it just fucking vanishes. And this is usually supposed to be reserved for the most egregious of offenses, just severe violations of the rules, like you're trying to punish Dirty Dan for getting a little crazy on the platform, then that's when the strikes were supposed to be used. It's because it's basically like capital punishment here on the platform. But Nintendo uses this willy-nilly. They're very loosey-goosey with issuing strikes. This is their first strategy. They don't reach out or try to play nice. They immediately just start rolling around in the pig pen and spitting and shitting on anyone who's covered their content, it seems. They throw out more strikes than a professional bowler, and that's exactly what they've done to Penguinz0. They've issued 2 strikes on his channel. I'm going to play portions of his video here where he talks about it more in detail, but it's so fucked up. Nintendo is such a scummy company. I cover all of their L's because I love their products, but I hate their company. I think they're still learning what an email is. They don't know what video content even means. The internet is this mysterious boogeyman to them. They don't fucking get it. They're out of touch. They're delusional, and it shows. They do this so often, and they've done this for as long as the internet's been around. Even back during the dial-up era, I'm pretty sure Nintendo would have tried to lobby against the internet's creation in the first place. They view it as an evil tool used by the devil, because it showcases their games. It makes me fucking angry, and they've done it once again.
Listen to what I have to say and consider reversing the decision to claim these videos. I make videos playing games, sometimes in strange ways. But for today, it's important for you to know that on occasion, I modify the games I play and explore what happens when the game mechanics are a little different. I have never encouraged piracy of Nintendo's games. The mods that I've commissioned are not being sold, and all of the code is custom, meaning that they are free of Nintendo assets.
Penguinz0 explains that the purpose of the video is to hopefully get Nintendo's attention to the issue and reverse their decision. Something Nintendo's never done in the entire fucking company's history, I'm pretty sure. I don't think they've ever listened to anyone, ever. Not even, like, their own kids. Like, there is no one Nintendo listens to, and I don't think they've ever walked back a decision ever. If they even loosely heard from the community, Nintendo Online wouldn't be such an embarrassing pile of dog shit that you have to pay for. which is still just an absolute war crime to even be charging for how bad that service is. But anyway, I'd love to be wrong here and someone at Nintendo actually has internet access and watches this video and has a heart like, oh wow, yeah, maybe this was overkill. But I just don't see that happening, though I would, again, love to be pleasantly surprised. Point Crow lays out that he makes videos and does a lot of content on Nintendo games, and in some of that content he mods them. He modifies the games to be goofier and the content is fire. So he needed to explain that when he modifies the games, he's not encouraging piracy, he's not stealing anything from Nintendo, it's all custom, and it is in line with their own content policy that they themselves published.
On April 6th, 1 week ago, Nintendo decided to block all 4 videos that I put up on YouTube playing the multiplayer mod. I appealed their decision, as I'm very much in line with their content guideline policies. We'll go over that in a moment. Nintendo then escalated and issued a copyright strike against my YouTube channel. Not once, but twice. Rather than bundle the videos all into one copyright strike, Nintendo issued a copyright strike for one video, and then bundled the other 3 into another strike.
That's deliberately evil. That's malicious. They could have bundled them all together for one strike, which would have still been an absolute load of fucking horseradish, but they decided to go even a step further to the dark side and divide them in order to issue multiple strikes. That's so fucked up, but a very classic Nintendo move. Just another huge L from this company.
Deliberately putting my channel in danger, but not taking it down completely. I was able to get an email address for Nintendo and sent a message asking that we discuss what's going on and try to reach an amicable resolution that would make both parties happy. I heard nothing back so far. Here's that email if you would like to read it.
Like I said, I'm pretty sure Nintendo has cobwebs on their email address. I don't think they know how to log in. Maybe they forgot the password. Maybe they just forgot it existed. Point Crow does have a legal team giving him advice here, and I think he's handling it in all of the right ways, but Nintendo is just completely unresponsive to anything from anybody. Like, you could actually have fucking Joe Biden send them some kind of presidential message or whatever, and if it doesn't get there by carrier pigeon, they're not getting it regardless. Again, I've said this before, but you would have better luck reaching Nintendo if you wrote your message on a rock and threw it outside of your window right now. They'd stand a better chance of seeing that than anything else, like a fucking email or anything. They truly just don't give a shit.
So the next day, Nintendo claimed 24 more of my videos from my channels. Most of them are modded content. A lot of them are Breath of the Wild. But not all of them are. This is key. They also claimed videos containing footage from Super Mario Odyssey, the Pokemon series, and Wii Sports Resort from my channel. The most surprising one, though, was a claim from one of my first videos back in 2019, marrying Sidon and a bookshelf to create Hyrule's first car. It's just a regular, vanilla gameplay video of Breath of the Wild.
The belief I and many others had going into this video, seeing what he posted on Twitter, was that the reason they're striking these videos and taking down this Breath of the Wild content is because their upcoming game, Tears of the Kingdom, is right around the corner, and for some reason now they're going around fucking feeding knuckle sandwiches to anyone who's made Breath of the Wild videos, I guess, and they've always had a real thorn in their side about modding. That's just a rock in their shoe that makes them very upset that people mod their games in order to have more fun with them. They don't recognize that the people modding those games are literally their biggest fans and making a ton of content around it, which only helps spread the game further in a positive way. Point Crow's mods weren't malicious, he wasn't selling them or anything like that, and as you can see from what he just showed, it's not like they were only claiming modded videos. That video from 2019 is just vanilla gameplay. It's not fucking modded out the wazoo or anything. They just very much viewed him as some kind of, like, bad guy and started blasting him as hard as they could. They fucking claimed the vanilla gameplay video of Breath of the Wild. That is so far into degeneracy. It's nuts. And the cat's out of the bag here, it's clearly not Tears of the Kingdom motivated because they also hit other videos from him that were on completely different games.
These takedowns aren't exclusive to my channel either. Over the course of the next couple days, Nintendo is taking down videos from other channels as well. Croton, another very prominent YouTuber, has had at least 10 live streams and 2 videos removed. Importantly, one of those videos is simply a challenge video, detailing how the game would be played if the player decided to explore Zelda with certain restrictions the player has imposed on themselves. These takedowns may have started with modded content, but they have spiraled into something else entirely.
Yeah, they've spiraled into lunacy here. They're not just targeting modded content, though I don't think there's any real justification for what they've done, even if it was only modded content. Modded content isn't some affront to God for these companies. It is players modding your game and making content around it and just enjoying it even further. Now, maybe there are some mods that are bad news, but I promise you it's not the ones you're striking down from these YouTubers. It's just further wiping their own ass with their already awful reputation and staining it even further. But again, they don't care. Purchasing a Nintendo game honestly feels fucking horrible because you're buying something from a company that doesn't respect you and actually just fucking straight up hates you. It's like buying clothes from your high school bully. Like, damn, the clothes are fire. But god damn it, the person behind it hates me and literally spits on me every chance they get. Like, it just sucks. Like, Nintendo makes such bangers, but the company is just actual trash.
So now you know what's happening. At this time, my channel has had 29 videos taken down, 2 copyright strikes, and Nintendo does not seem to be stopping the removal of videos from other creators on YouTube. They've shown that they're striking down regular gameplay videos as well. It's sporadic, and their enforcement of their copyright is incredibly uneven. The thing is, without even considering fair use, all of these videos are very clearly in line with Nintendo's own game content guidelines for online video and image sharing platforms.
Nintendo is going insano style right now, absolutely purging YouTube of all types of different content out of nowhere. Like, all of it's pretty nonsensical. It's not just modded content, it's actual just normal gameplay videos, like playing Breath of the Wild with like a challenge run and shit like that. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they start taking down speed runs or even just general walkthroughs. Like, it's absolute madness. It's chaos. And there's just no way of defending this behavior from Nintendo. Point explains that all of this content fits within their own content policy, as well as, of course, being fair use. They state that they encourage creative input and commentary for content around their video games, as well as like Let's Plays, video game reviews, which it doesn't really seem like they are saying that with a smile on their face, considering they're now just taking down all of these videos that have creative input and commentary. The things that they highlight that they don't allow are the obvious things, right? Where it's just like, you know, full Nintendo trailers or all of their soundtrack and shit like that. Things that other companies also don't encourage either.
You might argue that modded content is in violation of these guidelines, but historically that's not the case. The terms of service for The Legend of Zelda says you cannot modify the game, but it also says that you cannot stream it, you cannot make videos of it, and you cannot otherwise broadcast it. Nintendo's game content guidelines changes this, though, by providing a license on top of the existing terms of service, which modifies the terms of service for content creators. All of the videos that they have taken down are in compliance with their own policies.
A lot of games in their terms of service actually have similar statements, such as like no making videos or streaming the game or anything like that. But like Point Crow mentions, there's extenuating circumstances. There's like an overarching branch of it where they do modify that for the content creators and content that is made around their products. Because obviously in this day and age, any game is going to be like streamed or have videos about it. So a lot of companies encourage it, and Nintendo claims they also encourage it. They even talk about like how touched they are when people make Nintendo focused videos, which is the biggest fucking lie ever told. Like, my god, what a fucking fib. No shot. Every video made on a Nintendo game makes them angry. I feel like they view that as lost dollars, potentially. Like, oh no, a potential customer may have seen this video and now they're never going to bother getting the game because they got the whole experience from watching this one guy play Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild by killing all of the trash mobs. No, we lost somebody. They've ruined us. Take them down. It's just something that has existed for a long time, right? No streaming the game, no making videos on it, but that's just not the way it's worked historically on the internet for a long time now. And Nintendo has understood that up until recently, where I guess they got hit by a fucking stupid beam and are now taking down videos again. Completely innocent ones.
In fact, what they've demonstrated here is that they will ignore their own policies and licenses to selectively enforce their intellectual property. So, if you've uploaded any video that features any Nintendo content, no matter how transformative or directly in line with their published guidelines, you are at risk. You mentioned in your content guidelines that you are humbled every day by the loyalty and passion for Nintendo's games, characters, and world, and respect that we want to be able to express ourselves creatively by sharing our own videos and images using content from your game. And if you truly respect us and are humbled by this community, don't take this creativity away from us.
Overall, I think it's an extremely strong video from Penguinz0 here, which once again highlights Nintendo's out-of-touch delusion, and it serves as a great open letter to the company that I have no doubt will go completely radio silent on. I don't think they're going to see it. I don't think they're going to care. They're going to most likely continue to take down completely innocent videos and maybe even whole channels that have covered Nintendo products or made Nintendo-focused content, all because they're just fucking evil. Like, I really don't know what it is anymore. This does nothing to help them. This just puts another blemish on their reputation. This doesn't get people excited for Tears of the Kingdom. This just makes more and more people afraid of Nintendo. And for a company that's supposed to be like all about family fun, I don't know why they want to be feared so badly, ruling their property with an iron fist and allowing no room for creativity or imagination in their worlds from the people that love them the most, like Penguinz0 mentions. It's just shit. It's just an actual pile of dog shit. And I wanted to talk about that. I'm wishing Penguinz0 the absolute best here, navigating these two strikes on his channel, because Nintendo is a fearsome foe. So I really am hoping for the best for him. He's a great guy, and Nintendo is anything but a great company. They're trash. That's really about it. See ya. Good afternoon, Moist Charlie Clips fam. I come to you with urgent news. Nintendo is about to unleash the hounds. It has been a traumatic experience for them over the last 5 days. 2 of their properties have been leaked. And Nintendo, I imagine, is very upset about that. All of you know, Nintendo enforces their copyright with an iron fist. It doesn't matter if you're 2 years old, 90 years old, or actually just a cremated pile of ash in an urn. If they feel you have used their property in a way they didn't intend for it, they will slap you. And if it was up to them, they'd make it a crime punishable by death. They'd hang you publicly if they caught you using their property in a way they didn't like. And that includes things that make no sense, such as Breath of the Wild modded videos. So, it's ruthless. Nintendo is an absolutely vicious company when it comes to their property. And this week, 2 brave warriors decided to kick the hornet's nest and poke the sleeping bear. I want to make it clear, both of these instances are very much illegal what they did here, so I do understand it's within Nintendo's right to take action against them. It's just a matter of how hard they're going to go. We recently saw them tackle Gary Bowser, the man who was part of a team that was basically jailbreaking Switches, and not only did he spend 40 months in jail, or whatever it was, but he will now also spend the rest of his life in debt to Nintendo to pay off over $10 million to them over the course of his life, giving up 25 to 30% of his income every month. So they really fucked him in the face for his entire remaining life. And now, with these 2 most recent cases, I'm curious to see how hard Nintendo goes against them. The first one is one a lot of you probably saw on Twitter. It was pretty goofy. A popular Twitter account called Vids That Go Hard posted the entire Super Mario Bros. Movie in their tweets. So they're a Twitter Blue subscriber, meaning they can upload up to an hour of content. So they uploaded the first half of the Mario Bros. Movie and the second half. A movie that is still in theaters and is currently grossed over $1 billion and still exploding. So they just dropped all of that shit like a hot potato onto the platform, and over 10 million people have seen it. 9 million on their account alone, and now it just continues to spread. This has to be one of the riskiest things you can do on the internet. Fuck with Nintendo. Because they're not just going to come after you legally, they will try and ruin your life. They just did that with Gary Bowser. And I also recently read a story about how in, I believe, 2021, there were 2 people that leaked screenshots from the Pokemon Sword and Shield strategy guide before it came out. So they leaked pictures of Pokemon Sword and Shield, and Nintendo brutalized them and earned up to $300,000 in damages from them, so $150K each that those people were responsible to pay back to Nintendo because they showed screenshots of the Pokemon strategy guide. So they do not have any mercy, and this account, Vids That Go Hard, just posted the entire Mario Bros. Movie, which is right now their most valuable asset that Nintendo has. So I imagine they're going to try and get the account's personal information. The reason the account is still up is probably because Nintendo's trying to subpoena the info. And then they'll probably just go hog wild. They'll probably send fucking assassins to that person's house. They will probably try and get them to court and then tie a cinder block to their feet and throw them in the ocean. I'm very curious to see where this goes because obviously what they did is illegal, but it's also so incredibly stupid to fuck with Nintendo after what they've done over the last couple of years when it comes to people loosely toying around with their copyright in a way they don't like. So this was wild, and I'm going to keep my eyes on this story to see where it goes, but it's also not the biggest breach Nintendo had this week. The entirety of the new Zelda game, Tears of the Kingdom, has been leaked. And it's been streamed on Discord. The ROM, I believe, made it into the wild. So a lot of people now have been able to play Tears of the Kingdom weeks before it's come out. And this is Nintendo's biggest upcoming game. So it's a huge deal. And I guarantee they're going to do everything in their power to find the source of the leak or anyone that downloaded it early and started playing it on their own. They will probably come after everyone who even so much as saw a stream of this game. I feel like it's going to be a merciless fucking apocalyptic wasteland of legal battles Nintendo's going to wage on the Tears of the Kingdom leaks. So the game is confirmed to be real. The whole game is actually out there. Nintendo's been striking down content that showcases it, showcases images, video, obviously. They're going hard to try and put the kibosh on it, but you can't put the genie back in the lamp. A lot of people now have all the spoilers. They've seen the game, they've played the game, so it's getting wild. So I just wanted to briefly bring all of you up to speed on this because it blows my mind that people are even willing to fuck with Nintendo. Again, what they've done here is, blatantly illegal, but Nintendo is a company that goes the extra mile to make sure that you face lifelong consequences for toying with them. So I'm very interested to see what happens next. I'll keep you all posted, but yeah, that's where we're at right now. That's about it. See ya. I like Nintendo games. I don't like Nintendo as a company. I've said this for 6 years now. Nintendo constantly makes decisions that are actively just hurting the biggest fans of their property. It seems like they're just hell-bent on ruining people's passion for their properties. They're just on this warpath against fun itself. It's like when SpongeBob had to teach Plankton what fun is, that's what the community constantly does for Nintendo, only for them to just shout, bah humbug, and then send you a cease and desist, or just outright slap you down. Or if you're a YouTuber, issue you a strike. Oftentimes, Nintendo is just evil for the sake of it. Like, I'm talking mustache-twirlingly sinister. Like, the Nintendo Corporation is a villain that Mario would have seeked to slay in one of his games. Like, I remember a case like 4 years ago where Nintendo banned a handful of streamers for playing Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity early. Except they weren't playing it early. Nintendo just forgot that time zones exist, so they banned streamers who were playing the official release of Hyrule Warriors because they forgot. That's how out of touch and archaic Nintendo is and how willing they are to just bend someone over and spank their cheeks raw, even when there's no real reason to do so. This is something Nintendo has done for years now with like Smash Brothers, which I've talked about endlessly, but they get up extra early in the morning just to hate. Like, they try and just ruin fun. Nintendo would send assassins to Santa Claus's workshop if they found out that one of the elves made an unlicensed Yoshi plushie. I know I'm getting a little lost in the sauce here, but I just get very passionate when I talk about how menacing Nintendo is for no reason. So the reason why I'm talking about them today is because they've just dealt a massive blow to emulation. Nintendo deserves more shit than a porta potty for this, and I really hope they get huge backlash for it, because I think this is just completely unacceptable. It started 2 days ago with a channel called Retro Game Corps announcing that they had received strikes for content that had a Nintendo game running on an emulator. The channel owner explains that they are considering a counterclaim under fair use as it was educational and transformative and had no effect on the market. It was a demonstration of a console no longer for sale. Even the Wii U eShop is closed, so the company itself has no means of earning revenue from Wii U sales. So this is one of the core components and what makes emulation so important. There are games that aren't being sold anymore and cannot be accessed outside of emulating them. It's fucking ridiculous. It is an incredibly important tool for preservation. But the only thing Nintendo is interested in preserving is that chip on their shoulder they have against any kind of internet content that shows their games. So they once again overstep and issue strikes for this, which is something Nintendo has done since the dawn of YouTube itself.
There was a time period where you couldn't actually have a YouTube video that had a Nintendo game in it because Nintendo would have your account banned. They fucking hate it for some reason. They try and protect their copyright with an iron fist. And I know there's always people that have Nintendo's cock in their mouth trying to make arguments on their behalf, doing free PR for them, fighting their battles, saying things like, oh yeah, but people will download games that they don't have on emulators and that hurts Nintendo. Load of baloney. That's dirty barnacles, especially in cases like this. There is no one getting hurt by emulating games that are not accessible through official means. There is tons of games like that. Emulation is extraordinarily important, and Nintendo does everything it can to ruin it. And in doing so, they even try and ruin other people's lives in the process. That channel now has 2 strikes on their YouTube account, meaning that they're 1 strike away from having their account terminated, meaning a source of revenue, part of their livelihood, is on the cusp of being taken away at the hands of Nintendo. And no amount of groveling at Nintendo's feet ever appeases them. The only thing that appeases them is complete fucking destruction of fun and destruction of emulators. So the big thing that happened today is they just shut down Ryujinx. Ryujinx is one of the last main remaining Switch emulators, and it just got wiped out today. Like the dinosaurs with the fucking meteor, Nintendo came in and they put the kibosh on it. According to an official statement on Ryujinx Discord server, developer GDK Chan was contacted by Nintendo, offered an agreement to stop working on the project, and the agreement wasn't confirmed, but the organization has been entirely removed. So here is the Discord announcement about it, talking about how it's going to cease operations. And like I mentioned, this is one of the last remaining Switch emulators. This isn't the first time Nintendo's done this. They took down Yuzu not that long ago, which was the big boy on the block. That was the sheriff in town. Yuzu was the go-to Switch emulator until Nintendo put it in the crosshairs and they took it out behind the barn. Nintendo's motto is, "You'll have fun with our games the way we want you to. Any other way that you enjoy our products is not acceptable, it's not permissible, it's illegal, you're going to jail, buster." Nintendo has a set way that they believe things should be done with their property. And we see it in Smash Brothers, where they don't believe it should be a competitive game, so they've never shown support for Smash Brothers and have even actively gone out of their ways to shut down tournaments over the years. And that's just a community of people that love their games, trying to put on events for their games, and Nintendo sometimes comes out there and says, "Nope, shut it down, pussy." Like, they go out of their way to ruin fun. They've been a little better about not destroying Smash tournaments recently, but historically, you've always just had a coin flip on whether or not Nintendo's going to show up and just say, "That's enough, take this down." And it's that way for so many things. It's just so unnecessary, and it's always so heavy-handed. They always choose, like, scorched earth, like the most aggressive path they can take. Strikes on your channel, banning your stream for 48 hours, like shutting down your Twitch channel for 48 hours, which is fundamentally, like, to put that in perspective, Nintendo having that power is basically Nintendo showing up to your job and firing you for 48 hours. Like, that's how extreme it is. It's so stupid. It's silly. Well, it would be silly if it wasn't so destructive. And it's not like they're doing anything good. Like, they're not releasing an emulator of their own. Like, they take down these emulators, and then what? Then the games are just inaccessible. Some games you will never be able to play again now. There are some games that now just fade into memory. A myth, a legend, even, that can never be played again because Nintendo is destroying emulators. It's like, if they had a competing product, I'd understand. That'd be understandable. It'd make a little more sense, like, oh, okay, Nintendo views this as competition. They're kind of stepping on their toes. Like, they have an official emulator, and now there's a bunch of unofficial ones out there. So I guess I'd understand why they'd be reaching their tendrils out there to try and stop that. But they don't. They don't have an emulator. They don't have ways of playing games from the old Wii U shop or anything. They don't have ways of playing some of these games. The only option are these emulators, which now are no longer an option because Nintendo is burying them. They are such a litigious company, yet so lethargic when it comes to, like, delivering things that make sense. Their Nintendo Online service is still a fucking joke. That is still a dial-up service that you're paying for, basically. Every Nintendo Online game I've ever played, especially Smash Brothers Ultimate Online, is fucking sickening. Like, their games, like, they're fun, they're very fun games, but their hardware is outdated. Their hardware is archaic. A fucking calculator on your iPhone is probably more powerful than the entire Switch console. Like, Nintendo is so behind on the times, but they have such good first-party games from, like, some very creative people internally that make bangers, but it's all wrapped up in this company that is out of touch and downright greedy and evil. There is no reason Nintendo should be shutting down emulators. They are doing your work for you. They are creating more fans of Nintendo property than Nintendo is. What Nintendo should do is release an emulator of their own. What they should do is offer better services as opposed to shut down the better services. Like, they're shutting these emulators down without having anything of their own that is an improvement. They don't have anything. It's just dumb. I hate it. I actually hate it. So yeah, I wanted to rant about this a little bit. It's a classic, you know, probably like 2 or 3 times a year, Nintendo rant where I just have to spit on that company. It sucks. I really am so upset with them because they make such good games. It would just be such a slam dunk, an easy layup for Nintendo to just finally turn a new leaf and start getting into the 21st century. Like, finally doing things that aren't just needlessly evil, that aren't just cease and desisting everyone and everything and shutting projects down, taking down fan projects. Like, it's just so unnecessary. So, yeah, RIP to Ryu Jinx. Hopefully that YouTuber doesn't lose his account to Nintendo. And big fuck you to Nintendo. That's about it. See ya.
You work hard. You do a good job. You're nice to your customers. Why then must you suffer the headache of returns?
Excuse me, I'd like to return this Nintendo. Who do I talk to about that?
Tell you what, you'll need to go right back there to the electronics area and they'd be happy to help you.
Oh, gosh, you know, I haven't really got a lot of time. Could you take care of it here,
I'd
please?
love to, but I can't. I need to send you to electronics right back there. They'd be happy to help you.
All right, thank you.
Hi there. What can I do for you?
Customer service sent me over to talk to you, to give this to you. If you take a look at it, I don't know what's the matter with it. It was working, and now it's not working, so I'd appreciate if you, you know, take a look at it. I'd like to get an exchange for it if I could.
An exchange?
Yes, sir.
Well, do you have... Well, I guess I'd better take a look
Why
at
don't
it
you
here.
take a look at it?
Yeah.
That's right, thank you.
Do you know what's on here?
No. I mean, the kids couldn't have done anything. I mean, they're good kids.
Sometimes they'll put soft drink or something on there.
No, it's not soda pop. I don't know.
Certainly.
It was fine. I would just. I'd appreciate it if I had an exchange on it. I have a appointment I gotta get going.
You know, I'd really like to help you out here, but I don't, you know, an exchange...
Listen, you guys have been great in the past, and I'd, you know, you've always taken care of me, and I'd appreciate an exchange.
But, you know, the warranty does specify that you have to keep it really clean, because it doesn't work if it gets dirty.
Some people will go to great lengths to return an abused or an out-of-warranty piece of merchandise. What are you supposed to do? Tell them what you really think? Of course you can't do that. And how about the customer who tries to bully you into taking back something you know isn't broken? These guys are a real problem.
You people amaze me. You really amaze me. Your quality control people, they just have bats in the belfry. Bought this Game Boy yesterday, took it home, nothing. Absolutely nothing, no picture. I'm pretty sure it's the EEPROM, so if you just want to take a look at that, I'd fix it myself, but I don't really have the tools, so I'll take my money back if you...
I'm sorry you had a problem. There's nothing at all, huh?
Nope.
Well, let's see.
EEPROM.
Power on. Battery looks okay. There's the tone. And give it a moment, and... Got the music. Uh-huh. Here we go. I think this is probably the problem. Yeah. Just needed to turn up the contrast a bit. How's that look?
Oh. Of course, the contrast. I think that was probably my kid didn't... I'll take it. I'll take it.
You'll take it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what about the nice guys who actually have a legitimate problem? In many ways, they're the toughest of all to take care of.
To bother you. The controller doesn't work.
Oh.
There's a picture, but there's no action. Probably I didn't read the instructions right.
I'll just take a look here and see how it works.
I didn't want to have to bring it in, but I just couldn't get it to work. And
There you go. It's working now.
Oh, look, sweetie, it's working. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, I'm
Now
so
tell me, when
sorry.
you plugged it in, did you put it into port number 1 or port number 2?
I put it in port number 2.
Uh-huh. Okay, well, plug it into number 1. Because if you put it into number 2, it won't work.
Oh. Oh, I can't believe
That's
it.
a simple mistake.
I'm sorry, honey. It was really something.
It's easy to see that all
simple.
customers are not the same. But no matter what size or shape they come in, and no matter what kind of products they're bringing back, they all have one thing in common. They feel they have a problem. Now for the good news. Nintendo is doing something about it. Something that will make your job a whole lot easier.
Could I bring you a pie later?
Last year, Nintendo of America sold over 90 million pieces of Game Boy, Nintendo Entertainment Systems, game packs, and accessories. Only a small percent of those products that were returned by your customers were actually defective. An excellent track record for a high-quality product. That's why the seal of quality goes on every one of our products. In many cases, the customer simply failed to follow the simple directions packaged with their product. So they come running to you. And that's a waste of time for everybody. But what are you supposed to do? You're not a Nintendo mechanic, you're a customer service specialist. Well, Nintendo has the solution to this dilemma. Next time one of your customers comes into your store with a Nintendo product after you've sold it, you'll have the answer.
What can I do for you?
Well, I'm having a little problem with, my kids are having a little problem with the Nintendo system.
All right, let's take a look at it and see what the problem is.
Well, it just seems to be a solid color on the TV screen.
Okay, so you put the game in, fire it up.
And it's just blank, solid color.
Well, does it look anything like either of these two right here?
Oh, the blue one.
By spending a few minutes reviewing the Nintendo troubleshooting guide, you can probably answer 90% of the questions that come your way.
The common problem, as you can see there, it's a result of dirty connectors. It comes from, not maintaining the equipment properly, getting a little dust and a little dirt in there.
So what do I do?
So what you need to do is you need to use this Nintendo cleaning kit. Okay, it's just like cleaning the heads in your VCR. It goes in there, cleans up the connectors there, cleans up the connectors inside the game packs. You're all set. Back in business.
That's all I need?
That's all you need.
Terrific. How much is it?
It's $11.95. Why don't you take the service brochure with you, too? It'll help you if you need to troubleshoot anything in the future. Okay, and if this gives you any more trouble like that, I recommend you call the Nintendo World Class Service Consumer Hotline. It's got a toll-free number there on the front of the brochure.
Great.
Or you can call the, the local service center. Their number here is 555-3700.
Thanks, Jim.
Hey, come back and see us again.
Okay.
Even when you don't have the time to spend with the customer or have the final answer, Nintendo's got the answer to the problem. We have a nationwide network of authorized service centers equipped to take care of your customer's product service needs. And in the rare instance where a product under warranty is malfunctioning, they will either repair it or replace it free of charge. And in all out-of-warranty situations, they will test the product on the spot and fix it at a minimal cost, all with no hassle to you or your customer. We will provide you with the name and address of the authorized service center closest to your store, or you can refer your customers to Nintendo's 800 Service Assistance Hotline. Either way, you'll be able to give your customers the information they need to get their problems handled quickly and efficiently, and you'll spend very little time in the process. Most importantly, you'll save your company the high cost of handling unnecessary customer returns. And in those instances that you must exchange a product for your customer, always exchange like items, and of course, only what the customer returned. Be sure the entire product is inserted into the original complete packaging. If the customer doesn't have their original packaging, simply insert the components exchanged into a package taken out of your stock. Now, your individual store may have other return policy requirements, such as obtaining the customer's original copy of their purchase receipt. So be sure to discuss these return policies with your direct supervisor or manager. Nothing could be easier. Nothing could be more convenient. It's total customer service, foolproof, and just about effortless. Special counter cards, on-package warranty information, and other collateral material will alert your customers to the simplicity of handling their questions or repair needs. Everything is clearly explained to avoid any confusion. The bottom line is that you keep your customers happy and you don't have to go through the hassle of returns. After all, our business is entertainment. We believe that everything connected with Nintendo, even customer relations, should be fun. The training kit is there to help you. When you have or are given some spare time, review it. There's no telling what you might pick up that will help you during the next occasion you have to deal with a customer return.
Ever since I watched the Pizza Hut training video, I've been inundated with recommendations for other training videos for a variety of things, such as Walmart cum inspector training from the 1970s, to veterinary technical assistants expressing anal dog glands training video. And through this, I was able to find Nintendo customer service training from 1991, so let's check this shit out.
You work hard. You do a good job. You're nice to your customers.
Here's our host, almost Bob Saget. I really like the effect on this video because it makes him look like some type of heavenly deity. It's like some porn set lighting here. It has that effect where if you saw this at 3 a.m., you'd immediately think it was just a dream and it never really existed.
Excuse me, I'd like to return this Nintendo. Who do I talk to about that?
Tell you what, you'll need to go right back there to the electronics area and they'd be happy to help.
I don't know what kind of store this is because that shit behind her does not look like games or movies. Those look like fucking power tools or something, but it's really hard to tell because it seems like somebody sneezed on the camera lens and they just didn't bother to clean it before filming.
Hi there. What can I do for you?
Customer service sent me over to talk to you to give this to you. If you take a look at it.
I can already imagine how this conversation would go in real life, off the training video, off book, raw and no rubber. Oh hi, excuse me, I bought this Nintendo Entertainment System, but it seems to have gotten in the way of my diarrhea. Can I exchange this for another one? I've never worked in customer service, but I imagine it's a pretty common occurrence where a customer brings something in covered in shit.
Do you know what's on here?
No. I mean, the kids couldn't have done anything. I mean, they're good kids.
Sometimes they'll put soft drink or something on there.
No. It's not soda pop. I don't know.
No, he's right about one thing. That's not soda pop. That's human poopy. And I have no idea why this brave Nintendo customer service agent is trying to flatten it like a pancake. What a fucking hero.
You people amaze me. You really amaze me. Your quality control people, they just have bats in the belfry. Bought this Game Boy yesterday, took it home, nothing. Absolutely nothing. No picture.
All of a sudden, Reddit walks in.
Just needed to turn up the contrast a bit. How's that look?
Oh. Of course, the contrast. I think that was probably my kid didn't, I'll take it.
You'll take it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wish the customer had stuck to his guns on this one. Yeah, you fixed it, so what, pussy? So what, big man? I was watching E3 this year and they announced Smash 5, so I bought this Game Boy and you know what I didn't find on it, huh, pal? I didn't find Smash 5 on it, so fix that shit, buddy. I still want my money back.
The controller doesn't work.
Oh.
Much. Oh, I'm
Now tell me,
so
when you plugged it in, did you put it into port number 1 or port number 2?
I put it in port number 2.
Okay, well, plug it into number 1.
Hey kid, your mom's a fucking idiot. Moral of this lesson from the Nintendo customer service training is people are fucking dumb.
They all have one thing in common. They feel they have a problem. Now for the good news. Nintendo is doing something about it.
In comes the Nintendo private army where they execute people that are not smart enough to use their equipment.
Is you need to use this Nintendo cleaning kit. It's just like cleaning the heads in your VCR. It goes in there.
I like how the solution is to use the official Nintendo toothbrush to clean it out inside, as if the fucking Nintendo Entertainment System will explode if it detects a foreign object that isn't a Nintendo licensed brush to clean it. It makes a whole lot of sense from a business perspective though, and I bet they made a fucking killing selling these cleaning kits.
Special counter cards, on-package warranty information, and other collateral material will alert your customers to the simplicity of handling their questions or repair needs.
In a nutshell, the training consists of, yeah, we know people are dumb, but we, Nintendo, have made 2,000 ways of telling them exactly who to call and where to go to get things handled, instead of going to the local mechanic at the nearest Jiffy Lube hoping that he'll be able to fix your Nintendo Entertainment System. So in essence, all they're saying is, you in customer service, just tell them to call us. That's the training. So in essence, the Nintendo customer service training video from 1991 is basically teaching people how to hand out pieces of paper to angry customers that want to return shit.